Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing more than just looking at deck lists or combo tutorials. We are getting inside the mind of a champion. We're going to break down and then rebuild one of the most powerful and successful strategies in the entire history of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Because look, it's not just about the cards you play, it's about the philosophy that actually wins championships. But before you even sleeve up a single card, you've got to ask yourself a really basic question. It's a choice that is going to define your whole approach to every single duel you play from here on out. I mean, it's the classic strategic choice, right? Are you the player who just wants to go for the OTK, drop a massive board, and just end the game in one big aggressive flash? That's the hammer. Or are you the player who just slowly and methodically takes apart your opponent's board? You become this unbreakable wall of defense that grinds them out of every last resource until they have absolutely nothing left? That's the anvil. But what if I told you the best players aren't just one or the other? See, this question is really what separates the good from the great, because today we're not just exploring a strategy, we are adopting a mindset that lets you be both, a mindset that can shift from anvil to hammer in an instant, adapting to every opponent and just dominating from that powerful, decisive middle ground. Today, we master midrange. All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll get into the mid-range philosophy to really understand why it wins. Then, we're going to lay out the builder's blueprint. These are the hard and fast rules you just can't break. We'll stock your arsenal with the essential pillars of any good mid-range deck, see how it all works in the current meta, and then finally, we'll set you on the path to mastery. Let's do this. So let's start at the beginning, the philosophy. Before you pick a single card, you have to get into the right headspace. This is the core identity that separates a true mid-range player from literally everyone else at the tournament. It's not about which cards you're playing, it's about understanding why you're playing them. Okay, so what is mid-range? Think of it as the flexible backbone of competitive play. It's not about some flashy one-punch knockout combo, and it's not a suffocating, unbreakable lock either. It's about winning a war of attrition. You react, you adapt, and you overpower your opponent through sheer value, making sure every single card you play trades for at least one of theirs, until you're the only one left standing. Now, this is what's so cool about this. Look at how mid-range is positioned. It's not some lazy compromise in the middle. It's an adaptive predator. When you're playing against an aggro deck, you become the anvil. You just absorb their initial rush, and then, once they've run out of gas, you turn the tables. And against a control deck, you become the hammer. You apply this relentless, safe pressure that forces them to use up all their resources way too early. You can hunt on both ends of the spectrum. So how do we take that philosophy and actually turn it into a consistent, powerful deck? Well, it's not luck, it's engineering. And that process starts with a few core, non-negotiable rules. Let's start with the first, the most important, and honestly, the most frequently broken rule in all of deck building. This number right here, 40. Not 41, not 42. Your main deck has to be exactly 40 cards. And no, this isn't some kind of superstition, it is just cold, hard math. And here's the key takeaway. Really disciplined deck building is about cutting cards, not adding them. Come on, we've all been there, right? Oh, but this card is just so good in this one specific situation. Every single time you give in to that temptation, you are actively making your deck worse. Every card you add over 40 lowers your chances of opening your best starter, of drawing that out you need, of seeing that one game-winning piece. Resisting that urge is what separates the good players from the great ones. Now, your starting point for building those 40 cards is the 20-10-10 ratio. Think of it like a three-legged stool. You need about 20 monsters for your offense and board presence, 10 spells for utility and consistency, and 10 traps, and yeah, that includes hand traps, for disruption. You kick out any one of those legs and the whole deck just becomes unstable. Of course, you're going to adjust this after playtesting, but this is always your starting blueprint. With that blueprint set, it's time to stock your arsenal. A winning mid-range deck is built from 3 essential types of cards. These are the 3 pillars that hold up the entire strategy: threats, engines, and interaction. Pillar number 1, threats. Okay, these are your heavy hitters, but in a mid-range deck, a threat has to be self-sufficient. It can't be a card that needs 3 other specific cards just to work. It has to make an impact the second it hits the field. It destroys something, it searches for something, or it's just this huge body your opponent has to deal with right now. Crucially, the best threats can pivot from offense to defense in a heartbeat. Next up, and this might be the most important part, are your value engines. See, midrange doesn't win in one explosive turn. It wins by collecting these small advantages, turn after turn after turn, until your opponent is just buried under the weight of your superior resources. An engine is any card or combo that consistently gets you more than it costs, drawing you cards, getting stuff back from the graveyard, or putting extra bodies on the board. This slow, suffocating victory is the hallmark of a great mid-range player. And finally, Pillar 3, Interaction. This is how you tell your opponent no. It's your disruption, your defense, your ability to stop their plays before they even get off the ground. Now, this includes flexible removal, for sure, but the king of mid-range interaction is the hand trap. Cards like Ash Blossom let you shut down an entire combo from the safety of your hand without even committing a single resource to the board. That kind of efficiency is everything. All right, enough with the theory. Let's see how these ideas actually translate into real tournament-winning decks. We're going to take a look at the current competitive landscape and see how the top archetypes all embody this mid-range philosophy, even when they look totally different on the surface. I mean, this just shows you how versatile the mid-range philosophy really is. Take Swordsoul Deck, that's your textbook example. It makes a token, summons a monster, makes a synchro that pops a card. Just clean, efficient, one-for-one trades. But then you have something like Branded Despia, which is all about value loops. It uses one spell, Branded Fusion, to generate advantage over and over. Even a super trap-heavy deck like Labyrinth can be a mid-range powerhouse just by using its traps to constantly outtrade the opponent until their resources are totally gone. They all play differently, but the core idea, it's identical. And if you really look closely, you'll see they are all built on that same foundation we've been talking about. They all generate those small, incremental +1s of advantage that snowball into a win. They can all pivot from aggressive pressure to a defensive grind, and, super important, they don't overcommit, which lets them outlast pretty much any opponent. This is the shared DNA of a championship-caliber mid-range deck. But here's the final and maybe most important lesson. Building the deck is only the first step. True mastery doesn't come from having a perfect 40-card list. It comes from continuous refinement, constant adaptation, and a really deep understanding of the game itself. This 4-step loop is what's going to elevate your game. First, you have to read the meta, know what people are playing. Second, you tech for it. You use your side deck to bring in those silver bullets for your toughest matchups. Third, and this is the big one, you refine. You play test relentlessly, you figure out what isn't working, and you cut it. And finally, you have to internalize that winning comes from consistent, solid play, not from some lucky top deck. This is how you get one step ahead of everybody else. So if you only take one thing away from this whole breakdown, let it be this. You can own the most expensive, meta-defining cards in the entire game, but if you don't understand their role, their timing, and how they fit into your strategy, you will lose to the player who does. Knowledge and strategy will always, always triumph over raw power. And that's it. You now understand the philosophy of the adaptive predator, the precision of the engineer, and the dedication of the master. You have all the tools. The blueprint is right here in front of you. Now go build your championship deck.